Uh-oh. Oh, you hear me? 1 2 2. Check. Check 1 2. I'm having some audio. If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. Can you guys hear me now? Okay. Let me know if you can hear me clearly. That's better. Oh, better when I lean in. Okay. Um, maybe I need to give myself a little more volume on the mic. Is that better? That make more sense? Okay. Um, blessed evening to everyone. For the people who are new to this, first timers, this is iGoat Chat, and we talk about everything small ruminants, goats, small farm operations, and our objective is to help people that are in small farm operations, especially goats, with information, um, and just try to answer questions that they have, educate people on things, inform people on things that may affect them. So if this is your first time on iGoat Chat, welcome. First, I want to mention that this evening we don't have one of our loyal family members that's always here with us. I go chat. He's not here this evening, which is Peter McCook. He's not here this evening because he had a minor medical procedure today, and so he's at home resting. And I just want y'all to, send some positive vibes, some love, and some prayers up for our friend Peter McCook, our family. And hopefully everything continue to go as smooth as it has been today for him. So, enough prayers and blessings for Peter. And I know he's itching to watch, but he's under doctor's orders to go to bed. Um, so this evening we want to talk about conflict on the farm or in business operations. Either it's between two co-workers or it's between management and lower staff or between management themselves, and how do you deal with it in a respectful way, in a business like way, and resolve the conflict that it turns out to be a positive experience in the workplace. um, for me personally, I have no experience with that, and I'll tell people right off the bat that I just rely on my gut instincts and what my grandmother teach me. So I don't think I'm very good at it. I usually refer to people who have a better demeanor, better understanding of how to deal with these things. And so tonight we have one of those people as a guest. We have Dane Wilson, which happens to be Trudy's brother. He's been a teacher for years. Now he's doing business consulting. He's in sales. He's a devout Christian. He's a I think I call him a counselor. He ain't saying no. He won't admit that he's a counselor, but he's a father of two grown men, or almost grown men. Yeah, they're like late teenagers. So I'm pretty sure they think they're grown. Wife and father of two. So he has some experience with conflict. So without further delay, we'll ask Dane to come in and say a little something. Where is he? Seriously? I think he just dropped out there. He just took off from the green room. I don't know what's going on. He is going to leave me to deal with this by myself. I don't know how to talk about conflict. The only way I know about conflict is let's go outside and duke it out. So you're a tough guy. Let's go outside. That's how I know how to deal with it. Um, let's see if we can get him back on. Maybe he's having internet issues. In the meantime, I see guys say yes, prayers up for Peter. Yeah, God always take care of his people and guide and protect his people. So everything happens for a reason, and God is always in control. So we just have to, keep the prayers and think positive and keep it going. Do we have Dane back? Let me check with the producer. All right. Um, so let's see if this works better. Dane, can you hear me? Um, Not really. I can't hear you, and the video is bad. Hello? His his internet is bad. Do you see that, Trudy? At the bottom there, it shows you his signal. That is, his signal strength is very weak. So he is having network problems. How are we gonna resolve that? We got it. We can't keep him on screen like that. So hmm? I don't hear any audio. Um, okay, I don't know. Let's take him off screen until he figure it out. Okay, that's a great start to this lovely evening. I don't know. how do I talk about conflict resolution without the expert? I don't know how to do that. Um, where is my Henry asks where I'm located? We're in iGoat, to me, Mr. Henry. Like Mr. Henry know where we are. So what kind of question is that? Merlin. Merlin said the way to handle conflict is to talk about it. Yeah, but how do you choose your words? What words do you choose to talk about it? Oh, I say conflict already. Um, how do you address it? Let's talk about let's go up with a hypothetical situation. Um,
Um,
Dane, is that you?
Dane, is that you?
Well, there's definitely a feedback. You gotta need a headset or turn that down. Hmm? There he is. That's better resolution. Everything look better there. There you go. I just need to hear you now. Signal look good and everything. All right. So Mr. Henry hitting on exactly what we want to talk about this evening. The problem is if the environment rule was not set before, then you don't know how to approach conflict. Um, Dane, you got to get a headset, or else when you turn on your microphone, it's gonna feedback. We ain't hearing you. No, I can't hear you. Yeah. So yeah, if you don't have guidelines and conflict resolution rules and regulation in the workplace, then it makes it harder to address the conflict, right? Makes it harder for say, okay, how did this happen? Why did it happen? What are the consequences of people violating either somebody else's space or doing something they shouldn't be doing? Maybe talking to somebody in an appropriate way, in an inappropriate way, or touching somebody, or yeah. So the rules got to be laid out in advance in order for you to have an effective conflict resolution procedure. Dane, are you there? Where's Merlin? Yes, Merlin. Establish boundaries. The expert is trying to get in. I'm trying to get him to come in and lead this conversation because he knows exactly how this works. Um, he's done it several times. He's So here's Mr. Henry saying, first offense warning, second offense write up, third offense suspension. After that, you gotta go. I like that. It's not even three strikes, you're out. It's like three strikes on the fourth one, you're out. I like that. That's enough. What do you call it? Warning and opportunity for people to correct their behavior. So, no sexual harassment. True. I believe strongly in that. Don't know inappropriate comments and touchy feely thing going on. Um, have weekly meetings, get everyone on the same page. Yep. And Mr. Henry, we should bring Mr. Henry, and he look like he got this, like he has a manual, like he's reading from a manual or something. Like is is Dane resolved? He thinks his signal is still weak. And we also need an appraisal system. What is an appraisal system? I don't know what an appraisal system is. Is that a job assessment? Is that what that is? Performance assessment or okay. Yeah. Look like Mr. Henry has his thing down. Yeah, so job performance appraisal is key, and it covers behavior, all that. Yep. So I assume, or every business should have a code of conduct manual, right? Every workplace should have a code of conduct manual that every employee knows what is appropriate, what is inappropriate. You know what I mean? And that way, when when you bring somebody in for an offense, you can actually speak on what the code of conduct manual says, what that they signed to, and you can address it from that point of view. Yeah, the problem is exactly what Mr. Henry says. The issue is it's an informal work environment. Now, this is what this evening is supposed to be about until we get in to resolve these technical issues. That's what it was about. How do we create structure in conflict resolution on a farm environment? How do we implement what the corporate world has? How do we implement it in a farm environment? How do we ensure people adhere to rules and regulation, punctuality, honesty, um, proper what do you call it, ethic codes? You know what I mean? How you make sure people don't say inappropriate things? How do you keep people accountable with their job performance? That's what this evening is supposed to be about. This is what we wanted to get into. How do you transform an informal work environment into something structured and get people to understand that this is the level that you want your farm operation. This is the level of performance you want, the level of ethics you want, all of that from the job description. But the job description also have to include the code of ethics off the bat up upon employment, right? So whoever comes in knows what is expected of them. They know what the do's and the don'ts are. Yes, Mr. Henry, you need to come on. Well, how's Dane doing? Him signal look weak. I don't know what was that. Um, yeah, Mr. Henry seems like he has his down. And we, yeah, Sammy said, and we know the owner have to also be held accountable because we use the informality of the environment, or to our advantage at sometimes. That is true. I think if you create a code of conduct for your operation, it should apply. It should apply to everyone, top to bottom. It should apply to everyone. You can't expect some your workers to, stick to something that you're not willing to stick to. It should apply to everyone. I agree with that. Um, so, what are some of the things that you would put in place that to keep people structured in their performance and their behavior? I think punctuality is number one. Well, it's a start, really, start of the day, everything. I think punctuality. What are the standards? What do you expect of them when it comes to punctuality? And because in Jamaica, especially in Jamaica, people do not respect time. Like we struggle with it here on our farm. Like I'm not saying anything that these guys, our workers, don't know. They're gonna be sitting there saying, "Yeah, here he goes again." But it's true, and you cannot get a real answer on why somebody is 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour late. The answers varies every day, but there has to be some form of consequence, you know. And that's where we went wrong, where we didn't have layout like a manual for people when we hire them, a code of ethics to say, yo, this is what we expect. This is how things should be. Um, See, Natty says, I feel that things have to be repeated and acted out from time to time to show them that the work can be done with or without them. Facts. Oh man, this is flying here. Um, Facts. This is facts right there. People, they need to know that, things can happen without them. Yeah. Now, some offenses are serious enough that a one-time offense should get them fired, like stealing once is enough. um, yeah, yeah. Okay, so I was saying that we would start with punctuality, right? Um, and punctuality includes attendance, attendance to work, or often you're absent, all that. I think that's a good place to start. Let people know that you're not going to tolerate tardiness on the job. That's where I think you should start. And then we're guilty. We didn't do it. We did not lay out a code of conduct thing. And so now it's something that we're looking at and saying, okay, how do we get a handle on this for real? We can't continue down this road of repeating ourselves every day and not getting straight answers. You know what I mean? And and it happens so often, you know, and it should be a part of your hiring policy to lay out in front of a prospective employee what is expected, how it works in your operation, what is expected of them, what are the things they should definitely adhere to, and there's no give and take on none of this stuff. You know what I mean? Um, it's critical that you go over everything. everything that has to do with the job, whether it's using of phones on the job, whether it's your job performance itself. Um, is Dan ready to go? All right, let's see. So Wilson,
Yes. Good evening. Good evening. We're finally together,
we are here talking about tardiness, sir,
huh?
and you are very late.
My apologies. My apologies. You're the teacher at this time, and I
What?
apologize.
The taxi was late.
Well, how it go when you take a route taxi.
Okay, welcome, Dan. Welcome, sir. I good family. Here's Dane. I'm sure you guys have seen Dane in the comments, on a lot of occasions. He is husband to Merlin, that's in the chat. And so I'm sure he's gonna be on his best behavior and best performance because Merlin is watching. All right, Dane.
True.
I don't know
Yes.
if you're busy trying to get this right, so you missed some of the stuff that we've been talking about. We're talking about conflict resolution in the workspace business, right? And while waiting for you, I went off talking about things should start with having a code of conduct that will explain to people what is expected of them, what is not expected of them, and how things will be handled in the event of if there's a conflict, right? You've got years of experience dealing with kids as a teacher, dealing with your own kids as a dad, dealing with like teenagers who know everything.
In the workplace.
Um, yeah, you're a man of God that does what I call counseling. You don't call it counseling, I call it counseling. Talking to people about, how to handle um, differences in opinion. Um, Another word for it is conflict. And I respect your opinions on a lot of things. Not all, yeah, I respect all your opinions. I respect. Whether I agree or disagree, right? I respect it, but I definitely respect your opinions and what you bring to the table in explaining things, whether I like it or not, right? So, what is your take on conflict resolution and how we should handle it when it comes to farming, which is a very informal workspace?
So conflict resolution, I think it begins. You're looking for change, right?
Hmm.
You're looking for change of behavior, whether already existing and you want to have change. So I think the party that is um, in the driving the case of being the person who is managing I think it starts first with in the headspace of right. So you have to first be resolved that to happen, and you understand that change needs to happen, and then you have to finally change also will mean that if you want change for others, then to be some change for you, right? Which is kind of an uncomfortable position to be. You need to first resolve that change
It's cutting out.
always. Uh, do I need to? Can you hear me?
Yeah, but you're cutting out periodically.
Okay. Not sure why.
Um,
I guess my internet.
Maybe you need to. Are you using the laptop microphone? Yeah, maybe you need to bring the laptop a little closer because these laptops have gates on
All
them.
right. I
Yeah.
don't want to get my face in there too big.
No, no, you good. Just shift a little more to yeah, you're good there. All right, go ahead.
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So there's change. There's going to be some level of discomfort. If you
Yeah.
want change, you have to accept that there's going to be this thingness to whatever is the solution or getting to where you want more important than the discomfort you're going to experience. Okay, so you need to be resolved. So, and even though you a person who is thoughtful and thinking about others, you have to own that you yourself are going to make some adjustments. Okay, that's
So
the first thing.
you're saying that whoever is going to enforce these rules and regulations, whether it's a change or you're implementing it, you have to make sure you
Mhm.
have to be of the mindset that it's going to also affect you.
Correct, absolutely.
Mhm.
And you is going. You cannot have change without discomfort. It's not, and
Okay.
it means that even if you are the one who is in the better position, right, or have the better mindset, you are trying to get someone else or other people to move the direction that you are, and
Mhm.
so you're going to have to be willing to, even if you feel that you're in a good space, you have to be willing to, you know what, the of getting resolution is so important to me that even if it means I have to make even some additional adjustments. And I think you have
Okay.
to have the right mindset.
All right. So let's talk about the approach of dealing with an actual conflict within the space. And
Okay.
you're the boss, you see a conflict with two co-workers. What is the boss's approach?
Oh, the boss's approach. So two conflicts. So probably give me an example. Maybe that might,
Yeah, if
be a
you
little bit.
walked in and you see both of them, like, okay, let's do it a farm. And you hear
Okay.
pure bad word out a row out there, and you go out there and you see a man a wheel him cutlass, and I say, you chop up your what's it, though. You can't deal with someone, a big man. Me not say, no, you come deal with man, someone, a big man, me chop you up. What do you do if you're the boss?
All right. So I would, at first, I would kind of say a little prayer, for God to put me in the right space, right? Real talk.
Mm-hmm.
And, slowly approach. I would then try to see if I can get the attention, because usually in a conflict, there's usually one aggressor more than the other one. So I'm going to try to see if maybe it's possible for me to even try to slowly position myself, right, and to try to, but again, with much caution. If it's wielding cutlass and stuff like that, you have to be very wise. But you try to approach cautiously as you can, and with the objective of trying to find out what's going on at that, and probably just going to listen. Whoever is the name, Ray. Talk to you a second. Let me just try to understand what's going on here. What is tension, right? What is the trying to understand is
So is it to de-escalate the situation?
de-escalate the situation. So this that even the way you approach, you have to approach with the right attitude. You have, from a standpoint of going into there at this point is feelings that are really at the fore, right? Feelings and it's not real. So you are trying to go in there with, okay, um, I'm going in with that. I'm not trying to go in boss necessarily. I'm going with the attitude of, here, I'm coming in, okay, let's try to dissolve and calm this. So even when I'm talking to the person, the tone speak to the person, right? That is very important, because they say, according to some people, words are only 7% of communication. Language and your tone make up the other 93%. That's what they say in terms of how you approach and everything that it needs to be in a personal manner, non-aggressive manner. And that also comes to from your previous the people, right? If they know your demeanor and if they're a person of reason and a person of calm, then it puts you in an approach. So
Okay,
really,
okay, all right, hold on. So Mr. Henry here has a scenario that he wants you to break down. Can you see it?
yes, I can. One says he's more technically capable than coworker two. So coworker two with the simple task because he can't help him. And the style coworker two and call him idiot. Yeah, so no, that's a very good one.
Okay, so the question is, a scenario is a staff member one says he's more technically capable than coworker two. So he's not gonna help coworker two with simple tasks because he can't help him. And he goes on to style the coworker, style me like race him up, treat him like nothing.
Right.
Coworker two and call him an idiot. Right? So let me see. And then I think he continues. He can't help him, and he goes on to style him. Coworker two not as a technical, but willing and follows instructions. How do you resolve the work issues between them?
Okay, in that sense, most likely, I would step in and assist with that task at that moment. How elevated and how the feeling in terms of trying to assist. Right at that moment may not be able to make that resolution happen. So maybe at that time, depending on how severe the situation is, I would probably step in. Are you willing to do that yourself? Or I am willing to go in and start that time. And then wait till later on, a better state for me to then go and talk to each of them.
Okay, so you don't want to escalate the situation by stepping in and reprimanding coworker one, but you'd rather deal with it later.
Correct. I'd need to deal with it later. That person is not in the proper frame of mind, and that the connection I have with them is such able to get them to calm down, right? And then the thing is, you're in where one is going to be looking bad in front of the other one at that time, emotional state. So I really don't think in that sense to try to interject and try to get them to go in, step in, do what you need to do, make the work happen, on address them individually and deal with the matter.
Okay, got it. Your audio is still going in and out. So we drop out some of it and it's like very unstable. But we're gonna try to push through. Okay, so let's talk about creating a code of conduct for the workplace. What is the approach?
Yeah, so I think in many ways the code of conduct or creating a code of conduct to avert or be proactive.
Oh, hold on. Mr. Henry has a follow-up before you move on to that. Mr. Henry has a follow-up. He said, don't bring them face to face and address it.
Correct. I agree. Yes. Do not bring them face to them there because everybody wants to save face, right? You'll be forced in that situation to have one person feel bad and feel like they have the upper hand, which is not beneficial at that time.
Okay, got it. I hope that was helpful, Mr. Henry, because Dan is a guru at conflict resolution.
Oh Lord.
Okay. Okay. So all right. So you're back to the code of conduct. Oh, there's another question. So he wants to Gigi says, how would you deal with it later? It's just been postponed. No. So explain what happens later when you get a chance to talk to them individually.
Right. So it would that day, right? I don't necessarily believe it is wise to postpone it beyond that. Try to find an opportunity, and maybe actually at the time to take care of whatever. You might find a time there's a time when you will have sorry, or they'll be separate, and I would then go them individually. So I would probably approach the technical one, if you will, and just try to understand why he capable of doing what it is, and then okay, what is it he or she is unable to do, and then probably ask them, well, has it been that they have told how to do this before, anything of that nature, to try to get a greater understanding, is by getting them to then share what it is the person was not able to do. Then it helps them to a better space to be willing to listen to what I have to say. If in that conversation I find that you know what, and that he really should have known what to do, then I'm going to communicate to listen. You know what, I agree with you based upon what you have shared. He doesn't know what to do, or he or she doesn't know what to do. So I am going to address that and help them to get up to speed. How, as much as you're frustrated with them and everything like that, where you style them, right? Think about if it was if you were the person who did not know what to do, or and feel a way about it, and then he came and he or she and everything like that. How would you feel about that? So try to put them in the other person's shoe, and after, hopefully you should get them to start to see the other person's perspective, and then so in the future, it is important how we can conduct that the same way again, and we have to figure out a way of where they're supposed to do something again, just bring it to me before me and talk to me and let me deal with it.
Okay. Mr. Henry, just say, yo, I guess thank you for your thing, but he would have just done it to them and cuss them out. I'm with him. That's exactly how I feel. Like, yo, man, like, seriously. You know what I mean? But
well, again,
I understand your patience and your diplomatic approach and your thing, but I'll be yelling from across the room saying, yo, Bridget, like, seriously, you have to deal with the man them with it. And why you don't know if you do start? Look how long you're there. Yeah.
So
I think that's
let me ask you this
appropriate. Yeah.
Let me ask you this question, and it's saying to Mr. Henry, how well does that?
How does it work? How well does it work?
Well, everything. How well does that work for you?
Oh, it's personal gratification.
Personal gratification. So
yeah.
So the question then is your personal gratification or the success of the farm.
Okay, no, yeah, I get you. I get it.
Yeah,
That's
no,
why. That's why. That's why you're here, Dave. That's why you're here. Yeah, okay. Yes. All right. Yeah, I get it. I get it. So this for the farm is way more important than my personal gratification.
yeah, and
Or,
so
or,
and
or
in
it's a temporary, by the way. It's a
farming,
temporary personal gratification.
true, very true.
Hmm.
So again, and I think that's an important thing we have to never forget, right? Um, bigger picture,
Well,
the
here's
bigger
what I'm
picture.
saying. This is my position. The thing with the farming environment is you have to be tough and rough, man. This tough and rough, man. This catch more flies with sugar don't work.
I mean, and
Which
I
which
and
which I fully understand. Like, you know what I mean. I've
mhm.
seen it doesn't happen around here as much. I would like for it to happen, but I love to go out there and tell them on a piece of my mind or something. It doesn't. But I've seen it happen elsewhere where the approach to how people deal with them is like, man, that's some, you know, rough and tough talking and handling. I don't know the results. I don't know if it gets better or if they get better results, but it just seems to be the way.
Mhm. No, I fully understand where you're coming from. One of the things that um, you need to think about, more important to get the results you want. Because remember, this is your changing behavior, or that's what you're literally doing. That everybody has a mindset, the Jamaican mindset. That just so we stay, right? It's just the quote unquote mindset. So you have to understand choice. Either you maintain the status quo, right, and go back,
Mm-hmm.
right, and guess what? You will get some level of solution, but you're not going to get a sustainable solution. I don't think, because you're going to the same negative behavior, right? So yeah, you might get some short-term results. I guarantee you, eventually, and it's going gets exhausting. You know, that you really want to continue doing, it gets exhausting. So you be committed if you want something different. You can have an expectation that's going to work necessarily the first time easily, or the second time, or third to it. You have to truly believe it and believe that there's a difference. But if you don't, then just go back to the old way that you've done.
Okay, so Gigi has a issue with what you're saying. He's saying he's still not seeing where the situation is resolved.
Okay, all right. So then, so it kind of ties into where you're talking about with the code of conduct, right? So I recommend that everybody develop
Mm-hmm.
a code of, and there are going to be bits and pieces. It's impossible to do, but if you have certain behavior or certain things that occur, spend the time to sit and think about what is the action that you're going to put together. All right. So the person who was style the man, we have to have an agreement that this is not another things around here. All right. Um, this is something that we're going to incorporate, which we'll have to present to the man, and he will have to, all right, and he has to understand that moving forward, that's now we have to then set out for him what are the actions again. So the first time maybe, okay, understand, we talk about it like that again. All right, you understand that. So if this where the same man still can't do the work, bring it to me, because then I would have, after that first incident, I would have gone to that man to do that thing properly. I would have made sure that he knows how to do that properly. If I made sure that I am confident that I did that and don't do the thing, then I have to deal with him again. So I have to a code of action as to what is supposed to happen. And similarly, maybe we determine that okay, the first time is a verbal warning. Listen, and through this, I completely explained everything to you. I said everything out, demonstrated everything like that. I have this repeat behavior because essentially they are not performing their job. Is not performing their job, right? So you have to have guidelines as the code of action you're gonna do. So maybe the first time is a verbal warning. Maybe the second.
Here is Mr. Henry with a typical situation that people end up with in Jamaica when you be nice, when you're a nice boss or you treat people good. Here's the situation they end up with. So he says, I have two results. I have a set of workers that whenever I'm coming to the farm, everyone is busy. Things get done because we cuss and we go on bad break all labor laws. It worked. It worked. Farm ran like a machine, but they slip away and leave without me knowing because they're afraid. Second reality is I try to chat with them, talk to them, have good rapport, respect, but then they get too friendly, right? And the whole situation is, bossy, stop stress, man. Tomorrow we match that up. I 1, 2, 3 that man. Tomorrow we do it. Me know that talk all too well. You know what I mean? So there is a fine line between being tough and being serious about what you want to accomplish on any specific day in the operation, and then just allowing them to come back and do it tomorrow. Tomorrow, no promise to nobody, you know.
Right.
But you have 20 minutes or an hour to get it done, but because you don't want to create no issues, or you don't want to create no vibes, and you don't want a man feel like you stress him, you say, all right, tomorrow. But really and truly, him still owe you an hour, so him can get it done. So how do you balance that?
Okay. Again, it goes back to the code of conduct. And I think this is one of the things that I especially when you're doing some kind of small business and you are the one doing everything, right? You don't have the time to sit around to try to plan to do no code of conduct, which ultimately I think is one of the biggest mistakes. Bad up the man and everything, just like I said, it kind of it works just when you're there, that type of thing. Being friendly and buddy, that kind of, maybe some people that might kind of work, but it's still not the solution. That determines what is the proper way we get things done around here. If you don't have a code of conduct, it needs to be fairly comprehensive, right? I don't know of any farm or business. When I say success, I mean like really successful at that level. How we do things around here, and it don't just come overnight. You're literally gonna have to spend little time each day, and you're gonna have to develop this particular scenario happens, or whenever this particular job is supposed to happen, to work out of the time frame it's supposed to happen, how many people, that, and you literally, because you know your business, your farm and everything, to know what is a reasonable time for the number of people supposed to happen, and you have to figure that out, and then you determine, okay, and that is done properly.
Okay, so you and I talked about, you always tell me about the McDonald's model.
Right.
Can you explain to our iGo chat family what is the McDonald's model?
All right. So the basic idea is, especially up here in the States, when you go to McDonald's, a lot of the people you see working there are teenagers. You know, some of them even 16 or everything like that. Okay. When I was a teacher, I taught some of those very same students, right? And the actually in Cleveland was inner city Cleveland, where I'm literally talking, you know, some of the things that's happening in Jamaica in certain schools and stuff like that. That kind of thing. I've even had students, personal students who have been personal students have tried to bring gun to school. You name it, right? Those students who work at McDonald's or Wendy's or any of these other fast food franchises are businesses that are relatively complex, if you will, menus and things like that, right? So how do those same kids challenge with keeping them in line and in school and everything like that? How do they and function on a much higher level? And the reason for that, whichever organization it is, but let's use McDonald's, right? They have spent the time over the course of years, and every single aspect of what needs to be, they have spent time thinking it through. What is the action that is reasonable for it to be done? What are the resources needed to make sure it's done and everything like that? And then they determine, okay, we have a frame, the whoever it is, exactly how it's supposed to be done. And you also know if it is not done, what are the ultimate consequences? You literally have to spend the time bit by bit. When you do that and you have accomplished it to a certain degree and you implement it, then it's the policies and procedures that is actually taking, and you just manage it and tweak it, because again, it's not going to be perfect. You're going to try, you think it through. Oh yeah, man, this is supposed to work. This is supposed to work. You're going to put it, and guess what happened? It might fail miserably, but at least now you know something that didn't work and rework it and figure out how to make it work again. But again,
But how would that apply to livestock? How did that apply to a
well,
livestock farm? We're talking about live animals. We're talking about, you know, because here's you and I have this back and forth, and we'll just do a little
right.
demo for the people. So in McDonald's, the machine, you put the fries in that machine, and the machine stop when the fries stop, when it's ready. It's structured. Everything is structured. You put it in, it stop when it's ready, right? It doesn't work like that on a farm. Like, you know, it's hard to structure things down to the T like that on a farm, because we're dealing with live animals, we're dealing with fluid situations. Not everything is so hard and structured. So how do you get somebody? I understand how it works in McDonald's, knowing that the burger bun comes pre-made, the patty comes frozen, the burger patty comes frozen. The machine will prepare that burger to the specific specification that's laid out in it, and these guys just need to do these things, and the burger ready. It doesn't, after my opinion, it doesn't work like that on a farm.
Okay.
You understand what I mean? Because everything is fluid. Things are not hard lined, and things are not timed, and an alarm goes off or the machine turns off. Well, I'm trying to get this farm there. I don't know if it will ever happen. It may cost us billions of dollars to do it. where I just press a button and animals are fed, water is refreshed, milk goats get milked, and we just look at a screen and say, okay, it's done. Let's go to the beach. Yo, trust me, I am crazy, but I visualized it. I visualized it where I sat on that deck, press a button on my phone, and I just watch everything just happens. Goats come out, they go
Mhm.
get milk. The milk is gone into the thing, and water is refreshed, and the chute just send the grain to the thing, and everybody is cool, and no more balling. Everybody settled, and we're like, okay, let's go, done. All right, I visualize it. I have visualized it. Okay, but we're not there yet. So
Right.
how would the McDonald's model work on a livestock farm like Cobra Ranch?
So as with anything, right? You have to make adjustments for well, even apart from you have to make adjustments, right? You have to take that into account. And then to your point, um, it is not possible to McDonald's do it for it to work on a farm. That doesn't, right? It's just not possible. Okay, I agree with that. So it's not. I don't believe there is a quote unquote perfect. So I believe that there are things that are done on the there's a certain time that the goats are to be watered. So that is quote unquote measurable. You can do that. There's a time. So there is not everything that's going to be complete or exact like that, but there are probably more things like that than you even reckon happen in the same many times the same sequence. Then sequence might end up adjusting a little bit, but those tasks are pretty much for the most part they are set in how you're supposed to do. So it's probably going to take more time to think about, okay, why, and I'm be honest with you, it's going to feel very tedious and almost like, right, if you're doing it. So I can already say I understand that. The thing too, I believe, and we have had conversation about, is to the parts of the job or parts of the work that you can out like that is very specific. How can we make some of the pay performance oriented? So those aspects can clearly see that this job is it to determine that this job is supposed to happen in this time frame by whatever resources, and it is not done to the standard. How is there a way to make part of what a person is paid? Um, I think that is also a part of possible part of the solution there. So no, I can't say it's 100% perfect solution, but I think it will move the needle in the right direction.
Okay. Um, man, it seems like a very daunting um exercise to get things fluid and happen the way you envision it to happen in this culture, because there's certain things that are ingrained in the people, and they don't really want to elevate themselves above it. I feel like they would rather talk you into mediocrity instead of listen to you, help them elevate above it. It happens so many times. I have to shake my head. I'm like, seriously, you're gonna convince me of this part of my language bullshit right now? You really think that I'm gonna sit here and listen to you talk me into that kind of thought process? Because what I'm trying to teach them, they aren't interested.
No, and again, so one of the things I go back to is, remember this started doing yesterday. It's not been a week. It's not been a month. This is that those behaviors are things that they have done over the course of years, and that it's going to take time to actually for the change. Many times that's why I go back to, you are changing you are changing behavior, and even think about your own self. How many about our own selves we want to change, and literally years and decades do this, But I mean, if you get up early, whatever it is, and you're still not doing it because we're resistance. We're creatures of our own habit. So you have to understand, you can't have the expectation that's going to be 2 weeks and then you fix that. That's going to work. It literally is going to have to be something that you work and over the course of
Yeah.
months, and
Yo,
everything like
Gigi,
that.
Gigi, Gigi, not take none of your argument. Gigi said, "Yo, I'll know him no year, no resolution."
So
Gigi said, "I'll know him no year. You give him one practical resolution." Something I know where I look for, where need you for year, you say. But yo, I'm just giving you that one right there to show you that Cabo Ranch, I go chat family is serious about knowing what they want to know. Like you're not gonna talk in circles about to the man want a real resolution. Okay, so give me one example. Okay, you know what? I'll flip it on Gigi. Gigi, give me one hypothetical situation that you would like an answer to. If the ones before didn't satisfy you, give us another one, and we'll ask Dane to answer that for real and don't give us the political talk around thing. Give me a real answer, okay? Be- hmm? Illiteracy? Oh, is that still a thing? Huh? Is illiteracy still a thing? Guys, I know nobody yet to tell me say them can't read. You you just find out. You just find out after the fact. You just observe them or you ask them to do a thing or you say, yo, write this down. And man, I say, no, man, you write it down, man, whatever. Man, I'm call somebody else and tell somebody else to write it down because I'm busy. Yeah,
so
so I don't know if people still illiterate.
Ray, for
Mm-hmm.
example, like I don't know if you're willing to talk about like coming on time,
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
right?
I have a big problem
Right.
with punctuality.
So that, I mean, I think that would be a good example of, we could, if you want to talk what we have been working on that we want to implement. I mean, that I think would be example of what it is I am saying.
Yeah. So here's what we should do, right? Since we're getting this audio problem today, we should do a rain check, like come back and we will dig into these different topics, whether it's absenteeism, punctuality, behavior on the job, all that stuff, and we will give Gigi real answers because me know say he might look for real answers. He
Right.
might come to iGoat chat to get real answers, and he might what him say? Yes, bro, a lot of padded chat. Then I gonna say, yo, I'm not come back on iGoat chat. I'm not
No,
coming
no,
back
no, no.
over
I'm
there
ready.
because
I am
your
ready.
iGoat chat people are too
This,
serious. And
yeah, I'm coming back, man. The question is, will you have me
yeah.
back? That is the question.
No, you're coming back. You're coming back. Your Mr. Henry says, truth is we have to employ up. Trainable people, person respect. That is facts.
Agree.
That is facts. And to be honest with you, there is a personality in the space that is controversial to say the least. King Curry. King Curry always said this thing that why would you hire somebody to run your business if the person is not can't read or the person is not well educated? How do you expect the person to operate at that level if the person is not educated at that level? He's always said it. People are expecting to bring in a man for little and nothing and get, you know, bank manager results out of them. So he has a point. You know what I
Agree.
mean? The issue we have in Jamaica is the people them who said they're educated and operate at that level, them don't really want to get their hands dirty. You know what I mean? They're not the type. They're what we call clipboard. Them walk around with clipboard and they're paper pushers, right? So I need to find a balance, or I need to grow the business to that point where I can hire the clipboard person and say, "Yo, here you go. It ain't happening. If it doesn't happen, you don't get paid. Your salary is performance based for the month. There's a base salary, but to get the real numbers, to get the real big money, the operation has to perform. You know what I mean? And that's the level we have to get to. A lot of my friends who run successful business in Jamaica, they have a guy, whether it's a supervisor guy that just walk around and make sure things are done, or there's a guy in the shop that is his butt on the line if certain things are not done on time. He ain't lifting a tool, but he's there to make sure things are done on time, the way it's supposed to be done. And all of these guys have that guy. All these businesses have that guy, and that's what it takes in Jamaica. It looks like to get people to be productive, efficient, and all of that is to have a guy whose job it is to make sure that everybody else do what they need to do. You know what I mean? In a farm situation like ours, I try to be that guy. Trudy try to be that guy, but we're also the boss. There's no separation. You know what I mean? There's no real separation. I get the brunt of it. They get the brunt of it. You know, if I'm upset, they know I'm upset. So
Mm-hmm.
there's no buffer, you know. And the situation when having a guy in between me and them, I can pull this guy into my office and yell at him or them and go and say, "Yo, Bridget, what go on? You good? All right, star. Remember, I'm gonna buy our beer Friday here, but me just tell him supervisor where to go and tell supervisor say, yo, I don't want to see him leave ya before 4 o'clock or what. You hear what I'm saying? There's no buffer. It's either me tell him what I really feel or I swallow it if I need something done. So, but in the other situation, there is a buffer. There is a guy. See what I'm saying? So I
Understood.
think that's where we need to get to. That's where we need to get to. But right now we can't afford another guy. I'm hoping these foreign goods can, produce world power milk so we can hire a guy or a lady, a person. Let me not use the word
Person.
guy, a person. Hire a person. Because what Judy always say, are we creating a job for ourselves or we actually create a business?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like we always here working. We should be working on the business, not in the business. You know? So that's how we look at it. But then thanks again for coming. And
All right.
regardless of the technical issues and the audio issues, me have to go start to your problems in way in advance next time to make
Yeah.
sure so you're straight. You know what I mean? Well,
Right.
we get one of the kids to help you because
Well,
yeah. But I appreciate you taking the time, bro. And we will do a follow up part 2 on it.
Look
with
forward to it.
better audio and everything, and then you can give
Look
Gigi
forward to
some
it.
answers. All right.
Definitely.
All right. So
Definitely.
thanks everybody for participating. Thanks for showing up regardless of the situation. Remember to send some love and prayers to Peter in his in his recovery. And thank you all for being here. And we will talk soon. We'll see you next week. And don't forget to go over to YouTube and watch through these videos on the milk production that we're revolutionizing the whole situation, giving people real numbers, real information on goat dairy, and so they can participate. So if you haven't watched the videos yet, go there and watch it right now. And drop a 1, 2 likes if you feel like it. But remember to also share it if you think it's going to bring value to somebody else. If you think somebody is maybe interested in this, if you think it can help somebody, share it with them. Sharing is caring. All right. Blessed. See y'all next week. And thanks again, Dane.